I'd like to whoops. Hello? Can you hear me?
It's not on. Test, do test.
Test, test, test.
Oops.
Here comes the person that knows it all.
It's good. Hello? Oh. I'd like to welcome you all to the April meeting of the Sacramento Environmental Commission. Could we have, I'd like to call to order our meeting for April, and I'd like to have Secretary Jill Cohen do our roll call, please.
Robert Bailey.
Here.
Mark Berry.
Here.
Dr. Anthony DeRigi.
Here.
Richard Hunn. Diane Kinderman.
Here.
George Buzz Link. Margie Namba.
Here.
Eric Rivero Montez. Mark White.
Here. Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you very much. As is our tradition with the Environmental Commission meetings, I'd like to have our commissioners each introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about themselves, starting from that end.
Hi, my name is Mark Berry, and I represent the city of Sacramento. I work for Caltrans as a senior transportation planner, working on FTA grants.
I'm Tony DeRigi, a retired physician from Kaiser Permanente, representing the city of Sacramento.
Marie Wooden, Interim Director for Sacramento County Environmental Management Department, staff to the board.
I'm Diane Kinderman with the law firm of Abbott and Kinderman. I'm an environmental and land use attorney.
Mark White. We have a small environmental consulting firm that does work for recycling-related issues, both in California and quite a bit of work in Hawaii.
Robert Bailey. I represent the cities of Folsom, Galt, and Isleton. I have 35 years in solid waste and transportation and about 11 years teaching environmental studies.
And I'm Margie Namba. I work for Granite Construction. I'm a representative of the County of Sacramento. If there are any public comments, you can address the board, or you can have a little, there's comment papers in the back of the room that you can access. Our next item on the agenda is our favorite item of the year. It's our annual Sacramento Environmental Commission Awards. I'm going to describe the process to you. Commissioners Diane Kinderman and Mark White will describe the awards, and they'll announce and describe the awards. And then I'll come down, hand out the trophy, and we'll take a photo, and then you're allowed to say a few words if you'd like after that. So let's go.
Thank you, Margie. I forgot to mention that I'm a representative of the city of Sacramento. And we also want to let people know it's a busy week, so if you need to leave after your award is provided, feel free to leave tonight. We understand if you've got to get going. All right, so with that, I'm going to call out our first award. It's Girl Scout Troop 863 and St. Mary's School for Outstanding Environmental Leadership. The Girl Scout Troop took the lead in designing and building a community garden on an unused space at St. Mary's School that had long been on the school's to-do list to be used as a tool for educational purposes and social change. The troop first submitted a design plan, developed their budget, researched sustainable farming methods, marketed the plan to local businesses to receive donations of building supplies, recruited skilled builders to assist with building the raised beds, and created sample lesson plans that teachers could use as a hands-on teaching tool. The garden will be used as a teaching tool, it currently is, and will be used for years to come for sustainable farming methods and environmental stewardship and academic rationale. So accepting the awards from the troop, Girl Scout 863, is Lillian Henderson, Vivian Henderson, and Rebecca Ilotti. And then we also have here, representing St. Mary's School, Mary DeRosa, who is a second grade teacher who is the chair of the department overseeing use of the garden for academic purposes at the school. Thank you all, and we appreciate your efforts and your submission of the award application to our commission.
Do you girls want to say something? Didn't want to steal. On behalf of St. Mary's School and the Diocese of Sacramento, we thank you for this opportunity and for these young ladies who have done a magnificent job and have been students at St. Mary's School and now have moved on to their high school journey. Their great works has allowed me as a teacher to put into action science in the garden, and that has made a huge, tremendous difference for my students. It's hands-on. A book cannot do that. So these ladies have done, in their troop, an amazing job of putting my vision and dream right there in my school, in my classroom, available daily to my students. We've had carrots, beets, kale, the most magnificent garden, and we cook with it as well. So ladies, kudos to you. Thank you to this commission for recognizing their hard work and for helping us in the classrooms. Thank you.
So while I'm supposed to talk about the second award, I can't help but add to the first award. Firstly, my daughters both went to St. Mary also a few days ago. Secondly, two of the girls are Diane's daughters, which is very impressive. And thirdly, getting people involved at this point in their life means they take it home and they hit their parents and their grandparents over the head with it, and they push them into doing things they might not have otherwise done. It is a wonderful, wonderful opportunity for the rest of the world. You guys have done a wonderful thing. Thank you. So has the Sacramento County Airport. The airport has a project that was completely employee-led initiative. It's a photovoltaic facility, the concept of which grew out of a working group looking to find efficiencies in the airport's electric demand and reduce and benefit the airport's triple bottom line, which is people, profit, and planet. Without all three, we don't have a lot. The airport solar project is a 7.9 megawatt single-axis tracking photovoltaic project located on otherwise unused property owned by the airport. It has 23,000 solar panels that track the sun's east-west path over the day, which means they're generating the maximum amount of electricity out of those panels as they can because they're getting the best exposure. It began operation in 2017 and is expected to generate 15.5 million kilowatt hours per year. It has a 25-year power purchase agreement with SMUD, which is also important. We got to pay the bills somehow. It equates to, and this is really important, 11,535 metric tons of greenhouse gas emissions. It hits the climate thing head on, which is expressed as carbon dioxide equivalents. The energy generated annually has a carbon reduction equivalent of removing 2,470 cars from the roads, cutting down 26,700 barrels of oil, or not burning 12,600, well, over 12 million tons of coal. John Wheat, with the Sacramento County Director of Airports, is here today to accept the award, and congratulations.
And in his place is Lisa Stanton. Sorry, Lisa. That's okay. I didn't tell Mark.
A little closer. Great. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you. No, I'm not John Wheat. I'm Lisa Stanton. I'm the Airport Chief Operating Officer. And on behalf of the Department of Airports, we'd like to thank the Commission for this award. And I really want to give recognition to Bree, who's standing here with me, who is on that employee-led group. And if it weren't for our employees like Bree, we would not be here. So thank you, Bree.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I also have the pleasure of the next award, which is pretty close to my heart. I was out here yesterday. It goes to the American River Parkway Foundation for its outstanding environmental stewardship. The parkway is 4,800 acres along 23 miles of the American River. The Foundation's Adopt a Mile program gives community members the opportunity to have a direct stake in the well-being of the parkway. Individuals, families, businesses, clubs, religious institutions, and athletic organizations are among the many community members who have adopted a mile as a mile steward. There are 46,000, wouldn't that be a wonderful parkway? 46 miles for adoption, which it already is wonderful. One for the North Bank and one for the South. The Mile Stewards receive continuing education and learning experiences through quarterly workshops and seminars. They make a 2-year commitment of at least 20 volunteer hours per quarter on cleanup and maintenance projects on their mile. Activities include trash pickup, trail maintenance, weed removal, graffiti removal, and other special projects. In 2017, 1,503 volunteers participated in the Mile Steward program and pulled 62,558 pounds of trash from the parkway. It's stunning. You go out there on your bicycle and you look around, you see asphalt, dirt, and a critter occasionally, but you don't see much trash because these folks do a wonderful job of keeping the thing clean, and if we don't keep it clean, it'll rapidly get really bad. So Parkway Foundation, Mr. Jim Wiley is the president of the board, and Donna, I can't get your last name, Executive Director of the Foundation are here to accept the award, and we really appreciate all the work you guys do. Thank you.
Take our picture.
Thank you. On behalf of the American River Parkway Foundation, we thank you, the board, past board members, Jose, Tony, past steward, active steward. We thank you for this award, the commitment of the community. I have to say, when the award was written, our trash numbers were incorrect. Our mile stewards actually picked up 112,000 pounds of trash in the last year. So it is unbelievable the amount of trash that is out on the parkway, and if it were not for the volunteers and the commitment of all those within this region to say that the parkway is probably the best civic amenity, we would not be here today. So thank you very much.
And I just have to add one more comment. One of the things you folks pick up is bagged dog poop. I see it all the time. It's great to bag it, but you can't carry it to the trash, I guess. You just drop it along there because somebody's going to pick it up. Please, anybody out there watching this, if you pick up your dog poop, throw it in the trash.
Thank you, Mar. Now, I have the pleasure of introducing the next award, which goes to Councilmember Rick Jennings for outstanding environmental leadership for piloting phases of the Sacramento River Parkway Trail through the political funding approval process, making headway to purchase easements, and beginning additional trail construction. He's been advocating for 2 ongoing concurrent bike trail projects. Project number 1 is to connect the existing levee trail in Pocket Greenhaven to the other end of the trail at Zacharias Park. In addition to connectivity, there will be trail crossing signalization to allow pedestrians, bikers, and runners to cross at grade roads. The second project is an extension of the trail from Sump 132 to Arabella Way. This would double the size of the current trail and complete roughly 2/3 of the total trail. Councilmember Jennings was able to secure $2.3 million to purchase the recreational easements, design the trail, and get all permits necessary. All properties that the city would need to buy easements from have been contacted, and the City of Sacramento is beginning negotiations so that the construction can commence after the SAFCA levee improvements. And so it's with great honor that we give an applause to Councilmember Rick Jennings.
Thank you very much. No one does this work by themselves, and I have been trained by the brightest and the best. And so I'd like to bring up with me, my team, that has helped to train, to direct, and to educate, and has all the historical knowledge that I did not have 4 years ago when I came into this position. I'd like to bring up the Friends of the Sacramento Parkway to take the picture with me, if I may.
And I will say their names: Jim Hoft, Joan Gorfain, Steve Gibson, Albert Balagnit, Gail O'Hanesian, Jackie Miller, Skip Cantor, Michelle Kerr, and Stan Jones. Thank you all for being so supportive to the council member in his endeavors.
So I get to introduce the next winner. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Just very quickly, I want to also introduce Devin Lavelle, who's my new Parks and Recreation Commissioner, and I just want to acknowledge him as well. And then I just want to give you a quick progress report. With that $2.3 million that we got to purchase recreational easements, I am pleased to report that we have made progress, and we have secured the purchase of the first recreational easement. And so one day, real soon, this 40-year project, 1975 Parkway Plan, will come a reality, and we'll all be getting healthier and enjoying the view as we take the Sacramento River from Greenhaven Pocket all the way to downtown and one day to Folsom. Thank you so much.
Before I go on to the next award, I have to say that Parkway is a regional resource of just immense value, and everything you folks are doing to add to it only increases our value greatly and, frankly, my personal enjoyment of it. Thank you. Our next award goes to Cal State Sacramento's Sustainability Program for Bioconversion in Agricultural Collaborative, the BAC Yard. The original intent of this program was to comply with the organics waste disposal requirements in Assembly Bill 1826 and reduce campus greenhouse gas emissions. A simple mound of dirt was transformed into a simplified composting facility for the campus annual leaf waste. In Sacramento, as you know, leaves are, I think they were 35% of our annual disposal, trash disposal. So leaves on the Sacramento campus are more because there's trees all over the place. Best time out there is the fall. It's gorgeous. A lot of leaves, though. After this success, vermicomposting, which is with worms, and hot composting were added to the area to handle some of the campus's pre-consumer food waste. Because this was producing such nutrient-rich compost on a regular basis, the Student Association built a small garden to grow organic fruits and vegetables, which are given away to food-insecure students. The backyard, BAC yard, has also become a place for student projects such as natural pest management using owls and bat boxes. Partnerships with classes and professors at Sac State and K-12 schools have also developed, with future plans for educational school tours and future solar aquaponic systems and beehive installations. I have to say, as a one-class student at Sac State, you're going to see a lot of other really good stuff out of there because there's a lot of great stuff going on. This is the first shot. Today, receiving the award is Ryan Todd. I think Ryan's here. And he's a sustainability manager at CSUS SAC. And his colleagues, Christine Flowers, Nate Martin, and Joey Martinez, the recycling coordinator.
I don't know, they elected the professor to talk. So thank you very much. We are very honored to get this award, and I do have to say, a graduate of the Environmental Studies program, 2 graduates of the Environmental Studies program at CSU Sacramento. And we also want to acknowledge that we've also partnered with the Sacramento Airport on some things, and we're stewards with the American River Parkway Foundation, and so we're really doing a collaborative process out there. So it's just, there's a lot more going on besides what was in the application. So just a little bit, the greenest CSU in the system, one of the top 40 green campuses in the country, and we are working more towards community engagement. So everything that was in the report about our solid waste and our program at the backyard and our energy efficiency, we're also doing water efficiency. We led the charge on being smoke-free campuses. We have been part of the product stewardship programs we were the first campus to host a pharmaceutical collection bin. We're the first campus to deal with the refillable 1-pound propane cylinders. We're driving that, and then we're also doing community engagement. So our students were out with Creek Week this weekend and doing data collection and participating, and so that's part of Sac State sustainability. So you'll see it more, you'll see us out there with our shirts on, and we're just very excited to get this award. So thank you so much.
Just to add a final word, all those things are wonderful, but I have to remember too that they were all things you were told couldn't be done. But somehow they got done.
Stay under the 100 tons a day.
We don't talk about that.
We don't talk about that.
That just means that that's an exploratory permit kind of thing, and that the limits are a little bit different for that kind of activity, but it's a very small project anyway, so it all fits. The next one, it goes to SMUD for their Rancho Seco Solar Project. That was completed in 2016, but the key environmental benefits, this is where it gets exciting, with the project weren't totally realized until the 2016-17 NBA season, when the Kings started using clean solar power generated at their Golden One facility. The 20-year partnership between SMUD and the Kings means that roughly 85% of the power needed to run the Golden One Center, and that's a big place, will come from this 10.88 megawatt, 60-acre solar farm with its 109,000 solar panels. This has helped to make the arena one of the most sustainable and technologically advanced in the world, and also means that nearly 2,000 tons of greenhouse gas emissions will be kept out of the atmosphere every year, the equivalent of taking 400 cars off the road, or the amount of emissions generated by over 4 million vehicle miles, as evidenced by the EPA greenhouse gas calculator. The Kings are purchasing about half of that solar generation from Rancho Seco, and in 2017, the State of California Department of General Services entered into an agreement to purchase the remaining output. Rancho Seco's photovoltaic, solar, and other clean energy sources provide business customers with a cost-effective, hassle-free, and low-risk option to lower their carbon footprint without having to install a system at their site. Now, in addition to that, as I recall, SMUD offers us residential customers an opportunity to buy into some of this green power as well. So if you really want to, you should contact SMUD. We have with us today Director Dave Tamayo, who's on the SMUD board and is VP of the SMUD board.
Thank you, Commissioner White. I want to start by just letting you know what our official purpose is that we've adopted at the board for SMUD, and that is to enhance the quality of life for our customers and community through creative energy solutions. And so what we did here is one of the many things that our organization has done to meet that purpose. And I also want to point out that we have established a strategic directive to our organization that will be environmental leaders in the community and actually nationwide. And you know, we were very thankful to be recognized for this particular project by the Environmental Commission. It's great to get an award here in our hometown, and then also in association with all of the other great awards that are being presented tonight. So it puts us in very good company. You kind of took a lot of my speaking points, but I will pick up where you left off, was that we have we've now expanded our community solar project to 113 megawatts, and it's in development now, and will be ready for the community to purchase solar shares as in lieu of putting it up on their roof. So we know, fortunately, we have lots of trees here in Sacramento, and that's actually one of the best ways to conserve energy, is to be in the shade in the first place. And so if you're in a shady place but you still want to have solar energy, you can purchase it and it'll be created off-site for you. One thing I would like to do before I sit down, I want to recognize our staff that are actually directly responsible for the success of this project. Emily Bikini, Amanda Beck, Jose Bodipo Memba, Dave Hansen, Erica Rivera Montes, and Laura Fisher. And I know that Amanda, Emily, and Jose are here, and I would hopefully you will come up and join me for a photo, since you guys are the ones that really were responsible for this. So once again, thank you very much for this honor. SMUD greatly appreciates being recognized for this.
All right, so I now have the honor of giving out the last two awards of the evening. And the first one I'm going to talk about is Southgate Recreation and Park District for the Florin Creek Multi-Use Basin Project. And this project involves Florin Creek, which is a major urban creek that traverses portions of the city of Sacramento and unincorporated South Sacramento County. It has a history of significantly flooding during even the most moderate storm events, placing people and property at risk and requiring homeowners to carry flood insurance. Southgate Recreation and Park District, which owns and operates Florin Creek Park, began collaborating with other government agencies and the community in 2014 with the shared goals of creating an integrated multi-use detention basin that provides critically needed flood protection, stormwater detention, expanded recreation uses and areas, sports fields, a renovated pond and natural area, and new programming opportunities within the Parkway neighborhood and the surrounding community. The Florin Creek Park Multi-Use Flood Control Basin project was completed 3 years later in February of 2017. Some of the flood control and water quality features of this Florin Creek project includes 2 large detention basins, reduced flood risk to over 400 homes in the Florin Creek floodplain, stormwater quality to be improved by biological treatment of flood flows accepted into and discharged from Florin Creek Park, drought-tolerant plant species incorporated throughout the expanded natural area, expanded park size by approximately 2.8 acres, and over 100 trees planted throughout the project site, and recreated natural area and pond with recreated natural area and pond with California native plant species. And so accepting this award is Ward Winchell, the general manager with Southgate Recreation and Park District, Eric Jones, planner with the Park District, Christine Thompson, a board member, and Lisa Dills, a board member with the district as well.
Good evening. My name is Eric Jones, and I'm a planner with Southgate Recreation and Park District. And first, I'd like to thank the Sacramento Environmental Commission for recognizing this project. It's very unique. It's a rare opportunity when we can accomplish both a reduction in hazard as well as expanded recreation opportunities, especially in an urban area that's already built out. Finding additional land for projects like this within the urban core is really difficult, and so to pull this project off, it really incorporated the work from a number of agencies, starting with the State of California Department of Water Resources, SAFCA, the Sacramento Area Flood Control Agency, the City of Sacramento, the County of Sacramento, Southgate Recreation and Park District, the residents of the district, just to anticipate the project and to see the benefit and to help work with us in designing the park and all the features within it. And lastly, we would like to hope that this project is a case study for other projects for municipalities and agencies looking to provide the same service of reducing flood hazard and recreation opportunities. So I should say expanded recreation opportunities. So with that, once again, thank you, and we greatly appreciate it.
You're very welcome. And what I want to add, just with not only with this award, but all the awards, one of the criteria that we look at very closely is initiative. Was this something that they had to do? And in reality, the answer to that is no. All of the awards given tonight were things that nobody had to do. They weren't obligated to do it. SMUD wasn't obligated to do this. The district wasn't obligated to do what they were doing. And the same is true of everyone here. And that's very important to us on the commission when we're looking at enhancing our environment in the region. So the final award we're going to give out tonight is to the Fair Oaks Eco Housing Project for outstanding environmental leadership for their smart growth, green design development using sustainable living guidelines, and it began construction in December of 2017. Some of its smart growth design elements include that it's infill development, which reduces suburban sprawl and uses our land resources more efficiently. It's a walkable neighborhood. It's close to Fair Oaks Village, transportation, and the American River Parkway. It's transit supportive in that it's located within a half a mile of a bus stop at Fair Oaks Boulevard and Sunrise Boulevard. Some of its green design elements include reduced energy use. It has energy efficient, smaller attached home design, cool roofs with built-in radiant heat barriers, low E-solar cool glass windows, thermal mass, low water use fixtures, LED light fixtures, and other features that they will discuss when they accept their award. They're also solar-ready homes. All homes will have conduits for either leased or purchased solar panels. It's electric vehicle ready. It has level 1 and level 2 chargers. They're available. Has healthy building materials, non-toxic interior materials, low VOC paints, water-based clear finishes, low toxicity wood preservatives, and sustainable flooring. It also has earth-friendly construction practices, which includes reduced wood usage with advanced framing, less maintenance needed with high-quality preservation, such as waterproofing and flashing details. It has generous open space and more. Cluster design allows for preservation of mature trees and maximum open space. Watershed protection is provided by vegetated drainage swales and minimal pavement. And landscaping, of course, will be drought tolerant with native plants. It has an organic garden area, compost area, and an orchard, and overall a smaller environmental footprint. And so with that, this award is going to be accepted by Marty Maskell, future resident of Fair Oaks Eco Housing.
Thank you very much. I'd like to talk a little bit and then invite a couple of other people to come up with me. It is a privilege to receive this award for environmental leadership. And on the screen, you can see 3 pictures. The top right is a very happy group at the groundbreaking. I'm the lady in the red hat. And on the lower left, you can see what our community looks like. That's the architect's rendering when you walk in through just off of the main driveway where cars are parked, because cars are parked on the periphery. And then you walk into this safe interior space where everybody has front porches and neighbors know and care about each other. And in addition to its being smart growth and green design, it also enhances quality of life because of a safe and nurturing community. And the secret ingredient of sustainability is community, because with community, we all support each other to do the right things environmentally. For example, we'll probably have a recycling coordinator, and they'll make sure batteries don't get thrown away or any of the various no-nos. So I am very privileged to accept this award. I'm going to ask for some help, but before I do that, I just wanted to tell the audience that if you would like information about Fair Oaks Eco Housing, there is a stack of postcards on that table at the top. We have a total of 30 homes. 3 of them are not yet spoken for, so we hope you'll tell everybody about this wonderful community. And now I want to invite up Alan Albrecht and his wife, Michelle Wood, to come and accept the award with me. I also want to recognize my partner, Subhash Chan, so he's standing too, but he's shy. He doesn't want to come up. And I want to recognize Ann Garrity, who is standing in the back, sitting in the back. Stand up, Ann. And she is developing a co-housing community in West Sacramento that will be very walkable, very environmentally appropriate, and perhaps will be a candidate for this award in future years. So I want to thank you again for this award, and let's go up there.
Oh, no, it's okay. Yeah, it didn't go off, huh?
You're very welcome. And once again, to everyone who received an award, congratulations. And once again, the Commission appreciates all of your efforts for the environment and your initiative in this Sacramento region. Thank you so much. So that concludes our agenda item 5.
Almost.
Mark, anyone want to add anything?
I'd like to just add that in addition to everybody who got an award here tonight, there were a number of organizations that got certificates who had really interesting projects, really valuable projects, but for whatever reason didn't fully hit all of the points on the guidelines for the award. So we gave them a certificate. If anybody out there in the audience with us today or listening in has an idea for an award for next year, please get a hold of this lady right down here, because she's got the application probably in about November. And we love looking at your things. We really want to get as many. We had a lot of applications this year. We'd like more next year. You guys are such wonderful projects in Sacramento County that deserve recognition, that we really would like to get these awards to more people. Thank you.
Congratulations to everybody. I'd also like to thank our Environmental Commission members who helped select the awards. You guys did a great job. That's amazing, the candidates you had for the awards. Getting better every year. Okay. For our next presentation, okay, we'll give you a couple minutes to leave the room if you'd like, or you can stay. Okay.
That's good. That's very
Yeah. Yeah, we had a great audience today. Very exciting, these awards. Okay. Next on our agenda is the annual mosquito and vector control update. Gary Goodman, who's the manager of the Sacramento Yolo Mosquito and Vector Control District, will give us a little presentation. Thank you very much for coming tonight.
Yes, thank you very much for the opportunity. Appreciate it. Nothing clears out clearly a room like mosquito control. So I'm available for parties. If you're trying to get rid of your party guests, just give me a call. I get them out of here pretty quickly. So again, appreciate the opportunity to come and talk to the Commission a little bit about what we do with mosquito control. I tried to change the presentation this year to add a little bit more biology or history for you guys, so to try to keep it a little bit fresh even for myself. So I might stumble a little bit as this one's a little bit new for us. So for us, you know, we cover mosquito and vector control for all of Sacramento and Yolo County. Within the state of California, there's 56 agencies that are responsible for mosquito and vector control, and then of course there's thousands of them across the country. We have in California, a very established vector control association, work very closely with each other to try to help protect public health, and especially with a various number of diseases that we have that are borne by vector or transmitted by vectors of the mosquito specifically. So in California, we have about 53 different species of mosquitoes. So worldwide, there's about 3,500 different species of mosquitoes. Not all mosquitoes transmit disease. Some of them are just nuisance. Some of them are very specific in terms of what they feed on. There's a specific mosquito in South America that feeds only on a tree frog. That's the only thing that it takes a blood meal from. So if you don't have that tree frog, you'll never be bothered by that particular mosquito. We don't have that one here. So in California, we have 53. And in our particular district in Sacramento and Yolo County, or in the Sacramento Valley, we have about 24 different species. And so all of them have different kind of habitats, behavior, which ones are active, which ones they blood feed on, what their preference is in terms of biting. But we have 24 of those here in the Sacramento area. So just the general mosquito life cycle. Adult mosquitoes, or female mosquitoes specifically, lay their eggs. They'll lay their eggs anywhere from 150 to 250 mosquito eggs at a time. Then they'll go through 4 larval stages, a pupal stage, and then they will merge from the pupa into an adult. And so we try to target their development in the aquatic stage. So in the water, if we can stop those mosquitoes from becoming adults, then you don't have another 150 adult mosquitoes flying around, taking a blood meal, laying another 150 eggs, and continuing the process that way. So our focus is to try to target the mosquitoes in their larval stage, which is why we look for all of the standing water, the rice fields, the wetlands, irrigation ditches, backyard swimming pools, all of those types of things that can hold water that can breed mosquitoes. So in terms of, I thought these were kind of some interesting pictures. If you're a mosquito person, these are really interesting. If you're not, maybe not so much. But that's a mosquito, female mosquito laying eggs on the water. They lay them in what we call egg rafts, so very tightly knit there. And so in that is about 150 to 250 1 millimeter long mosquito eggs. And they essentially, those eggs start off as white, and then as exposure to the sun, they'll start to darken. And then as soon as they start to become into the larval stage, which is just a couple of days, then they'll kind of separate into the water and then start feeding on the nutrients that are in the water there. But it's kind of an interesting process. There's some videos. Next time maybe I'll bring some videos in. That way I don't have to talk as much. You can watch. But it's kind of interesting from that. So the length from an egg to an adult, so from the time it takes from them laying their eggs until when the adult mosquitoes emerge, depends again on the species of mosquito that you're talking about. We have certain species of mosquitoes that we call floodwater mosquitoes that can hatch anywhere from 3 to 5 days. So depending on weather temperature, 3 to 5 days after eggs are being laid, they can emerge as an adult. So it can be very quick from that perspective. For our Culex species, which are the ones that we're most concerned about in terms of West Nile virus transmission, that's anywhere from 7 to 10 days. And then for other mosquito species, like the ones that we have prevalent out in the rice fields and some of the agricultural days, it can take anywhere from 14 to 21 days. So it just really depends on the species of mosquito, but they all go through those full 4 life stages. So again, here's just another depiction of the same thing, and then essentially how long they're in each one of those stages. So as an egg, they'll lay in that water for about anywhere from 1 to 2 days, again depending on the species, and then they'll go through the 4 what we call instars of larvae as they just start to grow and get bigger and bigger. 1.5 to 2 days for the first instar, and then another day and a half or so for the second, moving through, and then they'll stay as a pupa for about 4 days or so, and then merge into an adult. And then once an adult mosquito, it can last anywhere from just days, a week or so, to months on end. It just, again, depends on the specific species that you're talking about. So general feeding habits. Only the female mosquito bites. Female mosquitoes are looking for the protein in your blood so that they can develop the eggs. Male mosquitoes only feed on nectar and plants. Now all mosquitoes, females as well, need nectar and the sugars essentially to sustain themselves, but they're the only ones that are looking for that bite and are looking for that blood meal. And so what attracts mosquitoes to a particular host? Well, one is carbon dioxide. So that's how they find kind of their live hosts, is the fact that they're sensing the carbon dioxide that we as humans or dogs or anyone else is breathing out. And so they'll find kind of that stream of carbon dioxide, and that's how they kind of zero in on you. But there's other aspects that have an impact on you. Perspiration, warmth, body odor. I think Jill mentioned that if she stopped breathing and smelled really nice, then she would never get bitten by mosquitoes. Well, that's partly true. So a lot of that is a matter of body odor or warmth, and then of course the carbon dioxide. So when are they most active? Well, we have mosquitoes that are active year-round. So it's not something where we're just in a season. Even with this cooler weather, we have a specific a number of mosquitoes that are still going to be active even in the wintertime. But for the most part, dusk and dawn are the times when most mosquitoes are out and active. That's when we're trying to ask people to try to protect themselves so they're not being bitten. But it also depends on the species. The ones that we're concerned about in terms of virus activity are active at dusk and dawn, but then we also have 80 species, which are daytime species. So those are very active during the daytime as well. So again, how long do mosquitoes live? It depends on the season and the particular species. Again, we have 24 different species here in Sacramento County, Sacramento and Yolo County, and so they can last anywhere from days, and then in the middle of summer, typically mosquitoes last about a couple of weeks because mosquitoes are really small, so there's not much to them. They don't like the general heat as either, so when you have those 100-degree days, that tends to desiccate the mosquitoes, so they want to try to harbor down or hunker down in shade and protected areas during the daytime, and that's when they kind of come out at nighttime or when they come out in the morning when the humidity is a little bit higher and they're able essentially to survive. So they've kind of adapted to the environment in and of itself. Even though we have a tremendous amount of mosquitoes here in the summertime, you're not really going to see as many out during the day because that 100-degree heat is just going to wipe them out. And that's why they kind of tend to come out in the evening time. And then how far can mosquitoes fly? So that's a lot of questions that people ask too. It depends. For certain species, like the Culex pipiens species, one that it does transmit West Nile virus, it tends to be what we call a house mosquito. It's known as the house mosquito. But it tends not to fly very far. If it's got harborage, if it's got water, if it's got food available, just like the rest of us. I don't drive to Los Angeles to get food. I've got restaurants that are right here down the street, so I tend not to move that far away from my house. Same thing with some of these particular species of mosquitoes. So some of them can go just a few blocks to a mile. Some of them can travel, up to 40 miles that they've documented. So mosquitoes can travel quite a long ways. Again, just depends on the species that you're looking at. So when does the season start? For us, we have mosquitoes kind of year-round, so we're constantly monitoring for mosquito populations. Obviously, our populations are significantly lower in the cooler months, January, February, December, January, February, in the winter. And then we tend to get a big influx of mosquitoes in February, because for some reason in Sacramento, there is 1 week or 10 days, and especially this year, we had about 2 weeks of really warm weather where people started wearing shorts, and then they noticed, hey, I'm getting bitten by mosquitoes. And so those mosquitoes essentially go into what we call diapause or hibernation over the wintertime. But then when the weather warms up, they get tricked to think, oh, wait a minute, I need to wake up. I'm hungry. Let me go find some food. So now people, when they're out in their garage or they're out in their front yard, those types of things, and now they've got short sleeves and shorts on, now they're starting to see those mosquitoes because those mosquitoes are coming out of hibernation and they're very active and aggressive because they're hungry. And so they're looking for that blood meal then. We tend to start to see more activity in March and April. Now is the time, obviously, with the rain and the hailstorm, if you saw that earlier today, which was pretty fascinating. we start to see the temperatures warm up, and by the end of this week, we're supposed to be at 80 degrees again. So this is a big concern for us, internally, is because now we have all this water that just filled up all of these containers, and now warm weather that's going to essentially, expedite their process. But our season tends to really kind of be from May through October. That's when the warmer months are here, and that's when you're going to have that sustained level of species of mosquitoes. So which ones are we concerned about? So I'll talk a little bit about some specific types of mosquitoes that we have in the area. One thing that we're actively looking at, and I think I talked to the Commission the last couple of years, are what we call invasive species of mosquitoes. So these are mosquitoes that typically are not supposed to be found in California. The books say they're not supposed to be here. Well, they're not reading the books, and they're starting to come here anyway. And you have populations of these mosquitoes. This is specifically the Asian tiger mosquito and the yellow fever mosquito, Aedes albopictus and Aedes aegypti, that typically are found in South America, Central America, and Mexico, are now starting to make their way up into California. And we have established populations in Los Angeles, in Southern California, but then even as close to us as Madera and Fresno, where these mosquitoes have become established, which is a very similar climate to what we have. And so the concern that we have with these particular mosquitoes is these are very efficient vectors of exotic diseases that we've never really had here in the United States. Zika, chikungunya, dengue. Zika obviously was in the news the last couple of years with its impact. And so we're constantly on the lookout for these, and then again work closely with our neighboring districts to see if they're going to detect it. But it's only a couple hundred miles away from us, which means eventually it probably will get here. Anopheles mosquitoes. Anopheles mosquitoes has the ability to transmit malaria. These are typically ones that are found in the rice field, and we tend to see these very aggressive as we start to get into the end of summer. As rice fields start to get harvested, then they don't no longer have harborage, and so mosquitoes will then start to transform or fly into town and have a big impact. And so we have places here in Sacramento County like Natomas, where on the north side of El Verde you've got rice fields, and on the south side you have residential property. So a significant impact for us during that time of year when these mosquitoes come out, because they are very aggressive and very large too. So we also have another species, Aedes syriensis. This is a tree hole mosquito, which we're going to have an issue with after this recent rain. So what happens with these particular mosquitoes is they lay their eggs in tree holes, so in the little kind of holes of trees, and then when the rain comes in and fills those up, then they will start to hatch, and these will come off anywhere in about 3 to 5 days. And these particular mosquitoes, again, are very aggressive, but also can transmit dog heartworm. And so typically in the springtime is when we start to see potential cases of dog heartworm. So we want to make sure that people are aware that there's a risk there, and that there's appropriate medication that you can get from your vet to treat your pets so they're not getting stricken with dog heartworm. The most common mosquitoes that we have here in Sacramento and Yolo County, and the ones that we're most concerned with, are what we call Culex tarsalis and Culex pipiens. The encephalitis mosquito, and then what I think I mentioned, the northern house mosquito, Culex pipiens. Culex pipiens are pretty nondescript. They're very, very small brown, and they tend to be around your homes. And these are the ones that are very efficient vectors of West Nile. And so these are the largest concern that we have in terms of our surveillance methods and our testing to try to figure out if we have virus activity in our area. So Culex pipiens complex, it's not just as simple as just calling it Culex pipiens. There are a number of different variations of Culex pipiens. So the same type of mosquito is called Culex pipiens. Down in Southern California, it's just a small difference. They call them Quinque fasciatus. Then there's Culex pipiens molestus, there's Culex pipiens pallens, there's Culex pipiens pipiens. So there's, even within that particular one mosquito, there are 6 different versions of that type of mosquito. So luckily, we have a very talented laboratory folks that study this, and I just come up here and give the general talk. They know what they're looking for. So with Culex tarsalis specifically, some of the characteristics that you might see, Culex tarsalis has white stripes on the tarsal joints of the legs, and so you can kind of see, if you see a mosquito that has a little bit of banding, that will probably be, and it's kind of a brownish in color, that'll probably be the Culex tarsalis. Those are the ones you're going to see most often, and then of course around your home you're going to see the pipiens one. Again, very, very small mosquito, brown, very nondescript. There's nothing, no major distinguishable marks associated with that one. So again, blood feeding. Culex tarsalis will feed essentially on anything that's available. They don't necessarily like humans. It's not a huge part of their diet, so to speak. But if they're around you and they see you, they're going to take a blood meal from you. If any of the commissioners are, you're more than welcome to come down to our facility. We can put you in the cage in there, and you can see how many mosquitoes would like to land on you and bite your hand. We have a wonderful insectary down there. And then Culex pipiens will feed in and around, for the most, like I said, a house mosquito feeds in and around anything that's available, so pets or humans, those types of things. Yeah, all right. So I talked a little bit about egg production. Again, I think one thing that's kind of interesting is with some of these species of mosquitoes, specifically Tarsalis and pipiens, when they're first hatched, the females can actually lay eggs without taking a blood meal. So they call it autogenous from that perspective. So they don't necessarily need a blood meal to have the protein for their first batch of laying eggs. Then after that, they will need the protein to be able to lay the eggs. These are some close-up pictures of what the larvae look like in the water. Tarsalis has the siphon, so you can see right there at the top, kind of looks like the straw that's coming up. That's essentially how they breathe. So when they're in the water, they're kind of laying like that at an angle, and they have their siphon tube up through the top of the water, and so that way they can breathe. So if you ever see mosquito larvae in the water, and you kind of disturb the water, they'll dive down. They're essentially kind of holding their breath, and they look like little wigglers, worms that are in the water, and they'll dive down. They're kind of holding their breath, and then they'll come back up, because they need to have that surface level to be able to maintain and continue their process. Culex pipiens, same type of, the structure for the most part is the same, but there's a little bit of difference in their larval stage. For Culex tarsalis, studies have been done on essentially what they're feeding. So what would happen is we would take mosquitoes, blood-fed mosquitoes that have already blood-fed, and then we will analyze to try to figure out what were they feeding on. So there's some level of residue in there. The majority of tarsalis will feed on birds, which makes it a concern for us in terms of West Nile, because West Nile is a bird disease. And so the birds are carrying the virus, the mosquitoes bite the birds, pick up the virus, and then bite another bird and pass it on, or bite a human. But as you can see, actually man is 1%. It's not necessarily a preferred feeding method or a host that they're looking for, but they will feed on them as opportunistic. Pipiens, even more so. Again, significant amount of birds, and then of course cattle is a big one for them. Now, because pipiens tend to be in and around structures, you tend not to see a whole lot of cattle in people's backyards. So again, they're very opportunistic. So while this is kind of what the literature says that they're supposed to feed on, mosquitoes will feed on whatever's available. So what do? How do we control those immature mosquitoes? And again, our target is to try to get them in their aquatic stage. And so we do a lot of work with the Nature Conservancy, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, California Department of Fish and Wildlife, CRP, Cosumnes River Preserve, in terms of being able to try to manage their property so they're not producing mosquitoes on their own property. And so we have some heavy equipment in terms of backhoe, dump truck, and those types of things, and other services that we provide. We're very now much getting into some of the drone technology and being able to use topographic maps to try to figure out where water is going to pool in various areas. Then we also have an ecological program with beneficials, and our biological program with mosquito fish. And then of course we get into the control of what our technicians do on a daily basis, is go out and look for these sources and then treat accordingly. And they're either treating with larvicides, material that we put in the water to kill the larval mosquitoes, or adult mosquito control. Once we start to get an infected population, then we'll do adult mosquito control with backpack or truck, or even up to an airplane, which is what we've done in the past. So again, the concern that we have with mosquitoes is, why? Why are we doing all this? It was, for the most part, it's nuisance, but it's also essentially mosquito-transmitted diseases. And West Nile virus first came to the United States in 1999, and within 4 years steadily made its way across the country. It is not going to go away. So we've had it here in California since 2003. So it's 15 years, and we're not going to get rid of it. And the reason why is because it's a bird disease, and we have the right types of birds. So they're transmitted by the corvid population, crows, jays, magpies, those types types of things, and we have those in abundance here in the Sacramento Valley. And so we have the right species of mosquito, again, that can transmit that disease. But other diseases that can be transmitted by mosquitoes are, malaria, Zika, chikungunya, dog heartworm, as I mentioned, encephalitis. There's Western equine encephalitis and St. Louis encephalitis, West Nile virus, and then of course there are a number of other diseases that are out there in the world that for a lot of these, in terms of Zika, chikungunya, and West Nile, we never had in the United States, before 1999. So in the last 18 or so years, we have the introduction of 4 new diseases to the United States. There are a lot of other vector-borne or mosquito-borne diseases that are out there in the world that can very easily come to our shores. And so that's why our vector control here is promoting public health. So a snapshot of what we've seen over the last couple of years in California in terms of West Nile virus activity. Last year you had about 536 cases. These are confirmed cases, and I think I've talked to the Commission a little bit about this before, is the fact that West Nile tends to be underreported in terms of the number of cases that are there. Over 70% of these cases, about 74% of these cases are the very serious neuroinvasive form of the disease, which requires hospitalization, leads to paralysis, blindness, and of course even death. And so the significant number of why these are reported is because somebody's required hospitalization to get to this point. But West Nile fever, if you were to get stricken with West Nile and you develop some level of symptom associated with it, you may never go to the doctor, or even if you did go to the doctor, they may never test for it. So you may never know that you had West Nile virus. And so CDC has an estimation that for all of the neuroinvasive forms of cases that are reported, there's anywhere from 30 to 70 additional cases of people that have had symptoms associated with West Nile just goes underreported. So for last year, as an example, you're talking about anywhere from 12,000 to 27,000 people that had some symptom of West Nile. They got sick from West Nile, but it goes underreported. And so we want to make sure that people are aware of that so that they don't just dismiss the fact that, oh, we had 500 cases. That doesn't seem like that many. More people have the flu or whatever that may be. It is actually significantly larger associated with that. Another interesting factor is that we actually saw the last 2 years we've seen a decline in the number of West Nile virus cases, human cases in California, which is a good thing. We're attributing it to the drought. So those drought years that we had in 14 and 15, where you had less water, it's a bit counterintuitive. You would think, well, if we have less water, we'd have less mosquitoes. But what happens in those drought years is that because it's a bird disease, wherever you did have water in those drought years, you also had mosquitoes. So you had birds coming to the water and the mosquitoes in the same place tended to amplify the virus. And so what we've seen over the last 2 years, now that the drought has gone, is that essentially we've got more water spread out, our populations have gone up, but essentially virus activity has stayed at a lower level. So we're hoping that in terms of virus activity, we'll continue to see that trend. So what do we ask the residents to do? How can you help? Essentially, it's looking around your yard and making sure that you're not breeding mosquitoes on your own property. So checking your rain gutters, especially after today's torrential downpour that came down. Checking your rain gutters, because you get leaf litter and other debris that happens in your rain gutters, and that's a good organic material if there's water still in there for the mosquitoes to breed in. Bird baths, obviously we want things to, essentially just looking around your yard, drains that you may have in your yard or in your, sometimes in your driveway, and some of the clean outs, those types of things. Anything that can hold water, that will hold water, that has this level of kind of organic material is a significant source of mosquito breeding, and want to make sure that people are aware of what those things are. So again, especially after these rain, anything in your backyard, from the garbage bin lid that's turned upside down to children's toys, anything, mosquitoes really only need about a tablespoon of water to breed. So it's not that much. So you really want to make sure that you're getting around to your yard once a week to dump those things out. So we see a lot of these kind of hidden pond type things, and these are very difficult. These are very difficult sources for us to find, because for us to be able to see the rice field or the irrigation ditch or something like that, the wetland, yeah, I can drive right by it. I drive right over the bypass and I can see all that agricultural land, see where all that water is, and we can go treat that. But to see in your backyard is much more difficult, especially with I think someone mentioned, we have a tremendous amount of trees in Sacramento area. So, there's a lot of cover, and so it's really a matter of trying to get back into those yards to deal with that. Again, old tires are another big source. This is another big problem for us when we have these recent rains, because that water will just sit in those tires for a long, long time. And of course, backyard swimming pools that are not being maintained are another big issue for us. So we have what we call the 7 Ds, drain any standing water around your yard, dress protectively, long sleeves, long pants. I don't just do this because I'm a redhead to protect myself from the sun, it's also for mosquitoes. Dawn and dusk are times to avoid being outdoors. Defend yourself with a good repellent. We buy repellent packets. We buy the stuff by the pallet. We want to make sure that it's useful, so if there's any events or anything like that, all you have to do is call the district. We'd be more than happy to provide repellent to anyone for those little packets. So we do a lot of outreach in terms of concerts in the park or movies in the park that go on in various communities. We want to make sure that that's available. Doors and windows are things that, especially in the Sacramento summer, we want to open up and get the Delta breeze in our houses. So mosquitoes are very small, and again, they're picking up that carbon dioxide. So if you open up your windows and your screen has a hole in it, mosquitoes will find it and they'll find their way into you and bite you while you're sleeping. And then of course district personnel. This is what we do. This is what our job is. So if you're being bothered by mosquitoes or if you see a particular mosquito source, give us a call. So again, big message today. After the rain, remember to drain. Clean out those gutters, empty any of those containers that you may see in your yard that are holding water. Another issue for us is just general landscaping. When we had the drought, actually some of the positive benefits of that were that people were conserving water a little bit more, and so they were very more cognizant of how much water they were applying to their yards and making sure it wasn't running off into the street, which is a good thing. It's always been a message that we wanted to preach. So, overwatering your yard to where you're starting to get that water that goes down into the storm drain and then into those catch basins, that's perfect breeding ground for mosquitoes. So make sure you're just watering just the grass. Once it starts to run off, turn off your water. You can always turn it on later, especially nowadays with all the programmable timers that you can have. So yeah, big concern for us. Again, dress protectively, more clothes, less skin is available for the mosquitoes to bite you, but sometimes a bit impractical here in Sacramento with the heat. Dawn and dusk, again, that's the time when, in the evening time where we may be barbecuing in the summertime, you want to make sure that you're protecting yourself when you're going to be out during those particular times. And I think we mentioned the repellent. This is from, the recommendations from CDC, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. DEET is still the gold standard in terms of repellent. So that one's going to last the longest, and you need to only use the amount that you're going to be out exposed to. So if you're going to go camping, you're going to be out in the woods, for 3 days, you may want a higher percentage of DEET, or you want to make sure that you're going to reapply more often because you're more exposed to it. If you're just going to go out in your garden for an hour and a half or 2 hours, then you only need a lower level of DEET. Or you can use some of these other products, the picaridin, oil of lemon eucalyptus, and IR 3535, which sounds really sketchy in and of itself, but you'd think they would come up with a better name. But these are all effective repellents that are approved by CDC, but they tend not to work as long as DEET does. So you want to make sure, and again, follow the directions whenever you're using those things. So some things that don't work, garlic, dryer sheets in your pockets, bananas, B1 vitamins, lots of different home remedies that people think will protect them from mosquitoes. And of course, each individual is a little bit different. We mentioned kind of body heat and odors and pheromones and all those other types of things, sweat. Yeah, the dryer sheets in your pocket don't work, but if it works for you, I just recommend carry some repellent with you, just in case it stops not to work. Again, doors and windows, mosquitoes tend to feed at night, so we want to make sure that those are in good working order whenever we have them in. And again, this is what we do. Call the district. If you know of somebody who has a bad pool, if you see mosquito breeding ground, see standing water in a park or something like that, or if you're just being bothered by mosquitoes, or even want us to come out and do an inspection for you, give us a call. We typically come out within 24 hours. Sometimes, actually, we had a resident last week that called us and said, I just submitted my service request online and somebody was here within 15 minutes. And it's because our folks have computers in their trucks. So when you submit something, we had somebody right around the corner and they stopped in and they said, what are you doing here? I just submitted this. And I think they were scared we might have been tracking them to some extent. But we want to respond as quickly as we possibly can. So we typically have a 24-hour turnaround. As I mentioned, West Nile virus is a bird disease, so if you do see a dead bird, please report it. You can do that online. This is actually a program that's run by the state of California. We collaborate with them on that, but you can go to the website, westnile.ca.gov, or you can give the phone number a call and report that dead bird. And essentially, they'll let us know. We'll go and pick it up, and then we'll test it and see if it died of West Nile virus or not. Some people want to control their own, and there are some commercial products that are out there for larval control. They call them mosquito dunks there, and you can use those on your property. We just want to make sure that you read the label directions appropriately. A lot of people think, especially like with, I'll say if you see a cockroach or a string of ants and you go grab your can of Raid, and people will spray until the can's half empty. Well, you don't need that much. So make sure you're reading the directions and using it appropriately for that. Just because, a little is good, a lot is not necessarily better. You want to make sure that you're using it appropriately. And again, here's our 7 Ds of prevention: drain standing water, dawn and dusk, dress, defend, doors, and of course, give the district a call. So with that, you can get more information by giving us a call at 1-800-429-1022 or visit our website at fightthebite.net. Does the commissioners have any questions?
Thank you very much for your presentation. We put you on the schedule today because we like to have you on a televised a meeting, because I think the information you provide is really valuable for us.
Right.
So do we have any questions? Go ahead, Mark.
You had a slide that listed the West Nile virus activity in California. Do you have those same numbers for your district?
Yes. In Sacramento County last year, we had 12 cases of West Nile virus. In Yolo County, we had 13 cases. So in our Sacramento Valley, we had 25 cases.
And if you did that on a per capita basis?
Yes, our numbers are really good.
Are they?
Yes, absolutely. So when you look at other cases, like say Colusa, if Colusa gets 2 cases, well, their per capita numbers are through the roof, right? Tehama, same type of thing. So Los Angeles tends to lead the state in cases, but of course they have the majority of people. And then the Bay Area tends not to have the right birds and species of mosquitoes that transmit the disease, because their temperature is a little bit more temperate. So they tend not to have the same problems. But Los Angeles definitely has significant amount of West Nile virus activity, and they tend to lead the state in the area. Our numbers on a per capita basis, we're typically in about the top 10% of districts.
Yeah.
Even with the large population that Sacramento has.
Yeah. Just because we got a lot of water.
We have a lot. Well, we're very diverse from the perspective of, you look at Sacramento, and from Elk Grove all the way up to the border is constant urbanization, right? And then we have the Delta down south with a tremendous amount of agriculture and the sloughs and all of the irrigation ditches that go there. And then, of course, in Yolo County, which is right across the river, mosquitoes fly. So they don't necessarily just stay where they're born exactly, so they will fly. So you have a tremendous amount of agriculture out there, and there's 45,000 acres of rice. And then, of course, just north of us, we have 75,000 acres of rice that's well within flying distance to Sacramento population. So there's a lot of ag and a lot of standing water that can have an impact on the individuals that live here.
The last question I have is, a couple slides before that, you had a slide on how you control the immature mosquitoes. Do you have any idea of the percentage breakdown of the effectiveness of, like, for example, your biological controls in mosquito fish compared to physical? Any idea? Are the fish particularly effective?
All of the methods are effective in the right spot. So, our physical control, if you can drain water, I don't have mosquitoes at all. And sometimes that puts us a little bit at odds with some of our partners. So, when you look at the California Department of Fish and Wildlife, they want wetlands. Well, wetlands are great. They serve a wonderful service, but that's also standing water that produces mosquitoes that causes a public health risk. So we try to mesh some of those, understand that there's some level of collaboration that, if they can drain the water faster, then we won't have the production that will come off. And so if you can drain the water altogether, then great. If the mosquito fish in certain habitats, like we've put maybe 10 fish in a backyard swimming pool, and come back a week later and all the mosquito larvae are gone, and it'll maintain that throughout the entire season. Putting them in the rice fields, a much larger swimming pool, so you have to have more fish to be able to put those out, tends not to be as effective. It's still effective, and that's why we have to supplement that with some of our larvicide material. And then, of course, if our larvicides get in the water, and the mosquitoes essentially they digest them, or they feed on that stuff in the water, that will kill them. But if they don't feed on it and we apply it there, then it's not quite as effective. And that's why we try to use all of those approaches to try to cover our bets as best as we can.
I remember, and this really is my last question, I think on one of your prior presentations to us, you said something about your nursery for the mosquito fish is the largest one in the country?
It is. We have 23 ponds at our facility down in Elk Grove. We plant about 4,000 pounds of fish per year just in Sacramento and Yolo County, and these are small fish, so that's a lot of fish. That's millions of fish that we plant. So it's not like the big catfish or anything. Yes, we're the largest mosquito fish breeding facility in the country. We're probably the largest one in the world that I know of. So I'm very proud of that program as well. A very successful program.
Thank you for your efforts.
Yep.
Anyone else? Go ahead.
So you mentioned there was 4 new diseases. Any idea what's causing them, like global warming or?
I think it's just international travel. I mean, within 12 hours you can be on the other side of the world, and there's a lot of exotic diseases that are outside of this particular country, and partly because we have established mosquito control, and so specifically we're for West Nile. The rumor was, or I don't say rumor, but guesses as to why it came. They first detected it at the New York Zoo. It was having an impact on the exotic birds that were at the New York Zoo, and one of the theories was that there was a black market for exotic birds, and so they brought some bird over from Africa and it was carrying the virus, and then we had the right mosquito that bit it and started the whole cycle, and that was the theory for how it started. For some of these other diseases, Zika is a relatively minor disease aside from the recent impacts that they've seen on children or on babies, especially in utero with the brain development microcephaly. But they've had small outbreaks of that, but it never really got to the point where they've really recognized that there was an impact on babies. But the theory there was it hit hard in Brazil a few years ago because there in Micronesia, Yap, the island of Yap, I think they had over 70% of people had been infected with Zika in Yap. Well, then there was this very large worldwide canoe race, and they sent folks from Micronesia and from Yap over to Brazil where they were holding it, almost like the Olympics, and you had people that were carrying the disease and then transmitted it that way, and then it started to get established in Brazil, and then because they had the right type of mosquito that can transmit it, it kind of blew up and then started making its way up through Central America and then into the Caribbean and having an impact there. So it really is probably global travel that is making these diseases more available to our shores as well.
Great. Thank you.
Any other questions? I have a couple questions. When you say your staff can come by if you call them, are they dressed in a uniform or something? So,
Yep.
So you would be able to recognize them?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
they have the uniform. They'll have the truck that has our logo on it and everything. And so, and by all means, our folks recognize, that's a concern. Security and those types of things. They can give them a phone, their card, and the resident can even call us and verify. Yes, we have. That should be Joe. He's about 6'1" and brown hair. He's got his cap. So yes, they'll all have their uniforms on.
And then, how long do mosquitoes typically live?
Depends on the species. So they can live just a few days, or some of them can live months at a time. So it depends on the species that we're looking at. The ones that transmit West Nile that we have typically in the summertime will last about 2 weeks, but sometimes a little bit longer, sometimes a little bit shorter.
Okay. And then you mentioned that some of the mosquitoes had made their way up to Madera. And how long before they would hit Sacramento, do you think?
I hope never. We're knocking on wood. We're doing active monitoring. We have been doing for the last few years. But these mosquitoes are very difficult to detect because we have different types of traps that we collect mosquitoes. So again, we have, just like your porch light, we have a light, what we call a light trap. So it's a light and lots of insects are attracted to light. We have a carbon dioxide trap to where we're emitting out a stream of carbon dioxide, and that's how we attract those particular types of mosquitoes. We also have a trap we call a gravid trap, that we put in foul-smelling water that is attracted to the mosquitoes because they know that there's nutrients in that water, and so if they lay their eggs, then the mosquitoes will survive. So we have different types of traps to try to target the different types of mosquitoes that we're looking for, and so part of that kind of depends on which ones that we're looking for and how we're going to be able to trap those.
Okay, 2 more questions. You said that dress is important. I've been bitten through like a blouse or something by a mosquito. So is it certain kind of material that you're supposed to?
No, I mean, obviously the looser fitting that you may have sometimes, and obviously the thicker would be better. But yes, there are certain mosquitoes that are kind of hardy enough to be able to try to get through clothing, but typically if they land on you and they're not sensing that, that there's blood that close, then they'll kind of move on to something else. I mean, they're going to be opportunistic, so they'll tend to fly away, but it does happen occasionally, yes.
Last question is, if you put a drop of oil on standing water, does that help?
Absolutely. That's one of the products that we use. Essentially, it's called a surfactant. And so what happens with oil is, as I mentioned with the larvae has that siphon tube as they're breathing, and so the oil breaks the surface tension. So they're not able to get their siphon tube up to the air, and so that oil will create this layer, and essentially if they're not able to get their siphon tube up, then they'll drown. So that is actually a product that we used to have. Back in the day, I probably shouldn't say this in front. Well, it was acceptable at that point, but there used to be an old mosquito control was diesel. You'd put diesel down and it created a nice layer and killed everything. We don't use that anymore. It's not labeled for that use anymore, and that was many, many, many years ago. So you're talking back in the 50s when environmental regulations not quite what they were now. But yes, oil, a level of surfactant over the top of that water breaks that surface tension, and mosquitoes are no longer viable.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for your presentation. Really
yes, absolutely. Appreciate the invitation again.
Commissioner Naldo.
I'll try to change it next year, too.
We have a speaker request on this item from Mr. Dave Tamayo.
Yes. Thank you.
So I don't know if Gary's nervous that I'm coming up here to speak or not, but first I wanted to share that for 12 years I had the distinct privilege of being on the board of directors for the Sac Yellow Mosquito and Vector Control District. I'm no longer part of that district, but the main point that I wanted to share with you is that Sac Yellow is, if not, well, I'm just going to say it, it's the best mosquito district in the country, and actually by extension in the world. And I don't think there's very many other districts who would claim that that's not the case, and I wanted to share that with you because I knew that Gary would not. But very fortunate, Sacramento and Yolo counties have been very fortunate to have had boards that preceded me and also general managers that preceded Gary who built a philosophy of really looking at this problem very holistically and making the investments in information management, into the science that the district does, into the water management that they're very advanced on, and also even the customer or public relations, that there's a lot of effort in all of those fields. And that's actually, what Sac Yellow does is really kind of held up as an example of this is how mosquito and vector control should be done. And there's sort of it's not quite unspoken, but there's this goal of we don't want to get it to spray. There's a lot of effort, and I think you saw a lot of different examples where Sac Yellow is putting a lot of effort into keeping that to not be a problem. He mentioned the dengue fever mosquitoes, and so several years ago the district started investing in how do we monitor for these and keeping on track of the science. So our area is very much in their debt for keeping the numbers of West Nile virus and other diseases at bay. I don't know if you are aware, but this used to be a malaria infested area, and it's mosquito control all over the state that prevents diseases like that from re-achieving the extent that they had before. So it's a great program to support, and I just wanted to make sure that you were aware of how good they really are. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Good comments. I think they're very valuable also because I fight the bite and all those things that you do. I think they're effective, so thank you.
Great, thank you very much, appreciate it. And if you need repellent, let me know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have any samples with you today?
No, but I will
Our
deliver
next
them to
meeting,
Jill.
I'd love a sample.
I only have 2, so I don't have enough for everyone.
That's okay, I'll wait till next time.
There you go. I'll make sure that Jill gets some.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I'd like to see what you use, how it works, yeah. Thank you.
Absolutely, thank you.
The next item on our agenda is item number 7 is the approval of February minutes, but we do not have a quorum from February, so we're going to carry that forward to our next meeting. So number 8 on the agenda is the approval of the March 2018 minutes. So if you guys have, anybody has read the minutes, if you could put forward a motion to approve of them. Does anybody want to?
I'll make a motion.
Does anybody second?
A second.
Okay, so all in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Say aye.
Aye.
Any abstain? Okay. Commissioner DeRigi will abstain. Okay. So we have everyone else's a yes, approved.
We only have a vote of 5, so we'll carry those forward.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, the next one, item number 9 is the Sacramento County Environmental Management Director's report. And Marie Wooden will present that.
Hey, I just want to report that Sacramento County Environmental Management Department continues to send staff in response to continued disaster assistance requests from Sonoma County. Staff are assisting with oversight of the removal of hazardous materials, hazardous waste, due to the wildfire damage from the Tubbs Complex fire that occurred last October. The wildfire burned 36,807 acres, destroying 5,636 structures and damaged 317 structures. So we've been sending staff to Sonoma County, I believe, since February of this year. We usually send them in pairs, but we thought, they told us their request would be ending the end of March, but then I guess they decided, no, we better go through the end of June. So we'll be sending staff, again in pairs, to Sonoma County to assist in disaster assistance to Sonoma. So we are very fortunate that we have trained staff that can provide this type of assistance.
Marie, just one quick question. What do they actually do? What is there?
At first, they were assisting the Army Corps of Engineers and Fed EPA in taking GIS-type readings. They're using some very interesting technology with Fed EPA in creating the maps. This was at the beginning after the fire. And when they have to do the debris removal, they were testing the soil, so that was Fed EPA. The Army Corps of Engineers was more the removal of the debris with their contractors. So our staff are there to help oversight, take readings, submit it back to EPA that was creating the maps. Also, they were doing asbestos testing for some of the homes because of their chimneys. The homes are older there, so they're very involved. And now I think they're doing a lot of community liaison type work with the community there that have been impacted by the fire.
That's it? Mm-hmm. Thank you. Do we have any commissioner comments this evening? Okay. Seeing that there are no comments, I guess I will adjourn this meeting. Our next meeting will be Monday, May 21st at 6 o'clock p.m. at the EMD offices at 10590 Armstrong Avenue, Mather, California. Thank you very much. Be safe out there.